Good day, I'm Grimith, and welcome to Heroes Rise the Hero Project, the second episode of a story that began with Heroes Rise the Prodigy. I recorded going through the Prodigy 4 years ago now, late 2015. I intended to pick up Hero Project sooner, but personal affairs and medical issues precluded me from doing so. Here we are now. I don't know at this time whether I'll go through the entire trilogy. I doubt it due to time constraints, but I may be inspired by the Hero Project. So if you didn't tune in to my reading of The Prodigy, or if you've forgotten, I can't blame you because I don't remember every detail either. We were a boy who dreamed of being a hero. And we ended up as an outlaw due to the killing of the game's antagonist. And apparently murder is something that's frowned upon. Along the way, we were a legend. We saved things, we just didn't spare the life of someone who had so grievously troubled us and the city itself. We'll be picking up from that old save. LGWI wrecked from 2015. Nice. Now you're ready to enter the Hero Project. Prologue. The one that got away. You're not yourself, at least not today. Right now you're a normal civilian sitting on the train trying to enjoy a few minutes of peace before getting to your day job. You couldn't sleep last night. Something kept you tossing and turning. Actually, not something you know exactly what was bothering you. But this thought is interrupted as the sound of screeching metal cuts through the silence. The silence. You'd look up, but you have no idea which way is up anymore. The train car has begun to roll, twisting and scraping its way off the tracks. When it's finally still again, you force your eyes open. You see burning. You hear someone screaming, and it takes some time for you to realize that it's you. And that's when you see them. You cover your mouth with your hand, wetting your face with blood. You try to remain still, to not even breathe. No survivors. But you hear these words, and you react. What does it say about ourselves? Alright, cool. Sure. Alright, I unlocked a legend guide, everyone. Neat. Let me remind myself of how I used to be. We were very famous, incredibly lawless, more offensive than defensive. We were primarily a soloist. We had a shit ton of money. We had that beautiful legend score. Grandma loved us. Jenny, yeah, I remember Jenny. Like an advisor for us of some kind that we spoke to, like a friend for advice. The victims, I don't recall. Rexford Schiller's, not really. Rebellion, whatever, and Black Magic, I definitely recall her. Anti-powered sentiment, this damn world. Yeah, so, based on our super badass, outlaw, the life that he's lived, keep playing dead? Nah. Make a run for it? Nah. Try to hide? Nah. Stand up and face your fate? Maybe. Knock yourself out sounds suitably badass. Fuck this shit, I'm out. They heard you scream, and they're coming for you. The only thing you can do is make death look like a real possibility. So you grind your teeth and smash your head against the metal hub next to you. Everything goes black. When you wake up, your head feels like a balloon about to burst. You blink your eyes open and see white walls, flowers. You're in a hospital, which means you survived. You don't have much time to celebrate, however, as the pain begins to pour in from everywhere at once, though the worst of it seems to be coming from your face. You reach your hand up and feel the skin, bubbled and scarred. Then you catch a glimpse of your reflection of the dark window, and you scream, because your face is cut with a deep red letter S. I am amused by the idea of, to hell with being conscious for this. Totally dead, honest engines. Part 1, 15 minutes. Chapter 1, begin again. You startle awake, shuffling the papers on your desk. Looking around, you realize that you're in your bedroom. You must have fallen asleep while writing a letter to your parents. Oh boy, these letters. That dream. It was so vivid. These days you've been having nightmares more often than you'd like, about all kinds of nasty things. And these powered terrorist train attacks in Millennia City have been all over the news lately. Blinking a few times to shake it off, you look back down at the letter, which is now blotched with drool stains. Today is the big day. You read those words and pause. In truth, today could be a big day, or a very small day. You know that's going to be up to you, mostly. Picking up a pen, you stare down at the page you've taken to writing letters to your parents in actual pen and paper, instead of through your me chip. Yes, I remember the me chip. You had to go to a specialty store to even find the stuff, but still, something about it makes you feel more rooted, more honest. Well, at least it usually does. Grimith, can you help me with something? Grandma calls from outside. Thankful for the distraction, you pop to your feet and head for the stairs. You walk by a row of unpacked boxes that Grandma has been nagging you about. You've only lived in this house for a month, but Grandma expects it to be fully settled already. You were worried about where you might move with Grandma, but the Powered Family Protection Program, PFPP, came up with quite the parting gift. They offered you reduced rent on a townhouse in the Millennia Mews. The Mews are a small gated community at the top of Millennia City's Rhine Hill, offering maximum security living for public heroes and their families. The Mews proved to be the housing option that trumped anything else you had been considering. Still, you had some pretty strong opinions on moving in. Okay, so PFPP offered us a townhouse. We moved in last month. It's a small gated community. Plenty of security. So, how does this character feel about that? Perfect for my current situation because it's highly private. It's great for my current situation. I love living closer to other prestigious heroes. I want to stay in the eastern fringes. I remember those, but Grandma insisted. I hate being cooped up, but I know this is what's best for Grandma. I'd hope to move out on my own. Privacy. I think that's worth having right now. In this, at this moment in time. It's perfect. It was also a gift. We'd be rude not to have accepted it and even enjoyed it, right? The Mews specialize in super private living for MC's most famous heroes, a service you now find you need. The Mews are in one of MC's most beautiful neighborhoods. You have tons more space than your old apartment, and most importantly, it's safe. They have their own powered security squad and a cutting-edge surveillance system. After everything that happened to your family, you're so happy you don't have to worry about Grandma. And you have to admit, the townhouse is as gorgeous as it is comfortable. The gated grounds are super lush, lined with benches and parks, and with all of your old furniture from your friend's apartment mixed in with the renovated townhouse, it still feels like home. Just better. Hey, if this is one perk that came from the hell of Prodigal put you through, you'll take it. I think I called her Prodigy instead of Prodigal. Whoops. You walk out into the backyard plot, which Grandma has already transformed into a garden paradise. She's gone with a more natural style, totally overgrown and wild, and everywhere you turn, there is an explosion of unexpected color. Of course, Grandma has already replanted... Forgot about this. Gun Metalia. But the rose has yet to grow in yet. Ah, Grimith, Grandma says, waving shears in your direction. Could you grab the ladder? Oakley tells me there's a particularly stubborn branch that needs pruning up there. You turn and spot the ladder leaning against the side of the house. Alright, yeah, sure. Why don't we just practice using our power to fly it over? I'm not gonna tell Grandma what she can and can't do. Wait, I feel like our character may have had this conversation with her, and I'm not about to fucking take her independence. You discover that your power to fly is actually the power to control gravity, the applications of which are potentially endless. You've been testing these new powers every chance you get, so why not now? You walk near the ladder and raise your hand, focusing on the space around it. Concentrating, you begin to reverse the effects of gravity slightly, causing the ladder to float in midair. Put that down right now, Grandma shouts, making you lose focus. The ladder falls to the ground with a clang, and you spin towards Grandma. You should be saving all of your power for later, Grandma says, looking down at her watch. Speaking of which, shouldn't you be on your way by now? Glancing at your meat chip, you realize that you're already running late. Slugger, you whisper, turning back towards the house. Damn it, Grandma, we were trying to help. I understand the value of power. I played through the first game. I'm a legend, damn it, Grandma. You know what? You shouldn't be climbing ladders anymore anyway. Just now turn on Grandma. Now wait just a minute. Don't you know never to leave an old woman without saying goodbye first? Please, you're going to find some secret plant serum and outlive us all, you say, rushing back over to give Grandma a hug. Promise me not to push it with those new powers of yours, she whispers in your ear. Pulling away, you look down at Grandma. Does the "you know I won't" referring to, like, I'm not gonna push it, or I'm not gonna promise? I think it's referring to that, but I'm not entirely sure. It does answer the question. Where's the fun in that? You know I won't, Grandma. Just remember how much you love your old powers. They work just fine. You give her a look. Don't push it, Gran. She nods, sending you on your way. Back in your room, you walk up to your bookshelf and pause to look over your victory corner. Someday you hope to turn it into an entire shelf, but for now the focal point is the ineffable action figure. Excuse me. From the official Hero of Tomorrow line. The fact that you already have your own action figure blows your mind, though you try to ignore the fact that it's the lowest selling model in Hero of Tomorrow's history. Reaching behind the figure, you push against a hidden panel. With a soft whoosh, a secret door swings open on the other side of the room. Most Muse houses come with secret lair compartments. Yours is only the size of a closet, but it still might be your favorite place on the planet. Walking inside, you pause to look at... It's okay, we don't need money from all those action figures because of how incredibly wealthy we were at the end of last time. My story, and I'm sticking to it. Screens display the most notable press moments, a collection of artifacts from my rogues gallery, posters of all the heroes who inspired me the most, a digital bulletin board with potential missions. Perhaps we've taken to accumulating curios. But you're distracted, as you realize that the glass display case is empty. The ineffable costume isn't there. Feeling a rush of panic swell in your throat, your eyes dart around the room. Before you can see anything else, however, a figure pops into your line of sight. It's your Meadship assistant. How could I abandon J2? Though I will certainly abandon the voice that I used during The Prodigy. Meadship J2 has been with you through everything, and that's the way you plan to keep it. Granny got a me message for you, honey boo. Meadship J2 snaps, floating in front of you, and a second... Standing next to J2 is Cynthia, Grandma's brand new Meadship personality. She appears to be made entirely of twisted roots and constantly simulates photosynthesis, hence the name, which Grandma finds endlessly clever. Oh, Grimma. Damn it. Oh, Grimith, Grandma nearly forgot, Cynthia says in her gravelly voice. Check your closet. Inside your actual closet, you find one of Grandma's famously wrapped presents, with a leafy note on top. It's never too late for a fresh start. Smiling big, you rip open the present to find a brand new costume. You had been toying around with refreshing your look and even drew up some sketches. Grandma must have found your favorite and made this for you. And it's perfect. You decided to go with some silver and red elements to really honor your Reaper legacy. Beyond that, the costume is sleek and streamlined, very dark and simple with a few color pops, tight and a bit revealing, bright and color blocked, over the top, black and white with your silvered ring as a chest emblem. I'll just say sleek and streamlined. Yeah, silver and red in there. It would be funny if Grandma had given us a tight and bit revealing costume, but it's perfectly fine. Sleek and streamlined. Grandma, forever efficient. Most importantly, on the right-hand glove, there's one fingerless hole to display the silvered tattoo that wraps around your finger. My heart will go on. And you see Grandma has incorporated all of your upgrades, though they will only work on your old power set. Sadly, Infini-class powers are still too new for there to be upgrades quite yet. J2, send Grandma the biggest thank you possible, you say, already ripping off your clothes. You cannot wait to test out the new costume. 15 minutes later. As you rocket through the downtown sky, you can't believe how well the new costume handles. It makes flying a breeze. Or maybe that's just because you're finally mastering the art of flying. Or your new gravity powers. Whatever the reason, this costume couldn't have come at a better time. It's been 7 months since the prodigal death wave, and you've mostly been clearing my name in court, living as a fugitive, helping rebuild the destruction caused in the fringes from the Death Wave, spending time with black magic, resting and recovering, researching everything I can about Infinity-class powers, trying to find new high-profile solo cases to handle, seeing a therapist to shake the prodigal nightmares. It sounds like we've been an outlaw, and I want to adhere to that, theme. We've been living as a fugitive. Lucky for you, all serious charges were dropped once the true story of what happened with Prodigal was confirmed. Still, you shouldn't go hanging out with the police anytime soon. They definitely will be looking for any excuse to haul you in. Aside from that, it's been pretty astonishing to see how quickly your 15 minutes of fame can fade from the public's memory. Now that you've been cleared of all charges from the whole Prodigal mess, and have your full licensed hero status back, you are determined not to be a one-hit wonder. You're ready to keep the momentum up and move on to the next big thing. And you've signed up for something today you think might take your career to the next level. The national level. Before you get started, though, you wanted to treat yourself to a present. You stand in the Meatship store looking down at a holo display for the Warning System 7.0 upgrade. It's one of the most valuable Meatship updates. The Warning System will enable Meatship J2 to alert you if your power or health levels drop dangerously low without having to go through the show stats screen on your Meatship. It will also enable J2 to inform you of strategic possibilities and warn you if you're about to make a decision with a high level of risk. Of course, you can always choose to ignore the warning system, but it might come in handy keeping you alive in dangerous situations. Your only hesitation. The price tag. The warning system cost $50,000. That's a lot of money, but you've got some coins saved up. $165,100. To be exact. Still, your first rent check is due, and you promised Grandma you'd pay $1,500 of it every month. Since the PFPP is also subsidizing the cost of the townhouse, I tell you what. What do you think? You've paid to unlock the Meatship warning system with an in-app purchase. Wait, what? So this is buying the upgrade, but this is... You'll have to forgive me for being obtuse. I mean, I was totally willing to spend the money, but, sure, okay. What the hell? It may be expensive, maybe it's just a reward for something I did in the first game. Some clever bit of detail, or me, porting my save over that I don't recall. I'll take it. Sure. It may be expensive, but you have a feeling it's going to pay for itself 10 times over. Ooh, child, it's about time you got that stank behind some protection. Meatship J2 shouts, flopping her curly weave to the side. 10 minutes later. Heading back outside, you look down at the time. Perfect. You'll be right on time to meet the ineffable? You turn around to find a teenage boy gawking at you. I thought that was you. I love the new look. You spend most of your life expecting people to ignore you or treat you like nothing, so you still can't believe when someone recognizes you or cares enough to talk to you. Well, you're the first person to see it, you say, reaching out your hand to shake. Think I could get a me picture? The teen asks, beaming. Of course you. But you stop as a public news holo screen flashes to life in a nearby window. You both turn to find Sherry Shaw with a breaking news report on Hero Line. This morning, a small Millennia City Railroad commuter train was subject to another devastating terrorist attack. This is now the third strike this month, leaving dozens dead and a precious few survivors severely injured. The screen flashes with more images of the flaming train wreck, footage that is eerily close to the nightmare you had earlier today. You almost have to look away, not wanting to give your brain any new material for another bad dream. The Everymen were on the scene to assist authorities in saving as many lives as possible, but word is that those responsible were not captured. Once again, the shadowy powered terror organization known as the Infra Order has taken credit. Although its members and motives still remain a secret, their leader posted this message. Sherry, your voice, so trained for news. On the holo screen, you see a man step forward, or at least the body of a man underneath an oversized mosquito head. I am Kulik, he says, his voice like a buzzing fly. Ugh. That'd be obnoxious to listen to. The Infra Order has attacked this train today to prove a point, one you don't need to know yet. But there will be more attacks on commuter trains, so my advice, call in sick. Before you even have a chance to process that chilling command, an image of Mayor Victon, the mayor, fills the hollow screen, causing a brand new wave of disgust to run through you. I want to reassure the people of Millennia City that another one of these attacks will not be tolerated. We are working with the appropriate police and powered response units to monitor train routes and have all cylinders firing in the search for Kulik's infra-order. We urge all of MC citizens to continue taking trains to work. There is no doubt that the goal of these attacks is to cripple the daily functions of this city. Let's stand up now and show these powered terrorists that we won't let them intimidate us. You know you won't be getting any calls from Mayor Victon to be a part of his special powered response unit. You also know that another one of these attacks will be difficult to pull off. Every aspiring and established power hero in the city is going to be glued to the train tracks, hoping to get their big break taking on the infra order. You even thought about doing so yourself, but there are much better uses of my heroic time. Leave that kind of hustling to the amateurs. You need to focus on committing to work that you can guarantee will make a difference. The screen switches again and displays the leader of the meek, Constance Obach, standing at a podium. Is there really much for me to even say? These powered lunatics are making their true selves known. And this is another prime example of why all of us so-called unpowered folk, the normal God-fearing people of America, need to band together and say, enough is enough. After all, it is the meek who shall inherit the earth. We need to... As Constance rattles on, you think of how the world is at a different place than where you left it, at least for powered heroes. Thanks in large part to Prodigal's Death Wave incident and the discovery of Infini-class powers, anti-powered sentiment has spread in America. It appears the golden age of powered heroes has begun to wane, and it used to be much easier to ignore the anti-powered rantings of the meek, as they were mostly viewed as an extremist cult, but they've experienced a surge in their numbers and have actually become a legitimate political movement in recent months, claiming to be seeking heavier regulation for powered individuals, though you bet their true agenda is even worse. This trend is especially alarming since the meek have officially endorsed Mayor Victon as their presidential candidate, becoming one of his primary campaign backers after he announced his powered regulation platform. Right after your little rooftop rendezvous with Mayor Victon, he announced his late candidacy for the presidential election, standing alongside Mrs. Victon, Millennia City's beloved First Lady. The Victons have spent many of the months since working on the primary debates in the Victon campaign, all of which led to Mayor Victon being named the presumptive nominee of the Constitutive Party. Although you know Victon someday becoming president would be very bad for you, at least he's been so busy on the campaign trail that he's got bigger things to worry about than you, which gives you some time to figure out how to eventually handle the Victons. In the meantime, given this alarming turn of events, you've decided to add an anti-powered sentiment meter to your Meadship show stats screen to keep track of the national social climate. That's some scary stuff. Too bad you weren't there. Those infra-order creeps will be singing a different tune, the teenage boy says. You smile. You really hope that's the case. But the truth is, everything about the infra-order is pretty terrifying. Don't even tempt him, you hear a familiar voice say. The ineffable can't resist a good uphill battle. You turn around and there stands Ginny Yu in the flesh. So we gonna do this thing? Or not? 10 minutes later. You fly through the air towards the southern outskirts of MC, with Ginny floating beside you. One of the first applications of your Infini powers you've been working on is the gravity manipulation of specific items. You finally worked your way up to people-sized objects, which currently allows you to make Ginny fly. Luckily, it's a short ride, constantly negating Ginny's gravitational pull as she moves is no walk in the park. You still think she's crazy to trust you this high up, but you wouldn't ever admit that to her. Grimith, this is absolutely unbelievable, Ginny says, looking like a kid as she soars. Is this what flying always feels like? I don't think so. I have to focus a lot to keep afloat. Now I know it's because of my gravity powers. What you're doing is probably way more fun. You bet your scrawny behind it is! Ginny screams, her ponytail whipping in the wind. You eye Ginny, and can't help but smile. After all, she's my best friend. She looks even more beautiful up here. Ginny has been with me through everything. Mostly because Ginny looks crazy and graceless. She's been with me through everything. As the PFPP agent assigned to your case, Ginny was always going to be a part of your life, but you two became fast friends, and you and Grandma never would have survived the Prodigal ordeal without her help. Not to mention all the help she's given in building your career, help that's sure to pay off again today. So this ride go any faster? She says, revving imaginary motorcycle handlebars. Your wish is my command. You focus on Ginny and close your eyes, mentally nudging her forward. But when you open your eyes, she is gone. You hear the sound of a distant scream, and you look up to find that Ginny has hurtled another 100 feet higher into the air. Holy slugger, you say to yourself as you rocket upwards to catch Ginny. You only intended to loosen the gravitational pull on her a smidge so she could move faster. You have no idea why she became so weightless. You focus on Ginny again and turn off your powers, causing her to suddenly drop back downwards so you can catch her in your arms. That is not funny, she screams in your ear. It was a little funny. That just took 10 years off my life, you Neanderthal. Pull that again, and I'll knock you senseless. You smile, because you don't want Ginny to know that this wasn't your idea of a practical joke. Unfortunately, this isn't the first time that these new powers of yours have flared out of control. It looks like there's going to be a bit of a learning curve when it comes to being an infinity-powered. But this thought vanishes from your mind as Ginny points across the sky. Well, that's certainly a bloody thing, she says. Your eyes widen as you look down at a line of several thousand heroes snaking across the ground. They're all waiting for entrance into a sprawling, massive complex. It's a lot to look at, the colors and types, the fangs and wings and weapons. You are wrong to think all of Millennia City's heroes would be trolling the tracks. They're not. Because they're here. And not just MC's heroes. You recognize a few faces of heroes you know operate in Manhattan, some who moved down south to LA, and you even see some kids from that famous teen team in Denver. You knew this was going to be big, but... Your eyes then settle on a giant holographic sign that floats above the compound. In bold red letters it reads, The Hero Project.